That has to be the most disrespectful truck-kun. That gotta be the most disrespectful fucking truck-kun. Did he get double truck-kun? Bro, he got truck-kun and didn't finish him off, so Meteor-kun had to finish him? So every god exists. There's the Egyptian gods, there's Catholic gods, there's goddesses, like an Isekai. So basically, gods do bidding on which humans they want to reincarnate. Can you tell me your bust size is an insane thing to ask a goddess, but you know what? Fuck it, we roll. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, I suppose. This is actually the most creative Isekai you could have done, to be honest. Like, it's silly as hell, and I thought it was going to be a lot more stupid slapstick humor. But they actually are putting thought into the weirdness. He just said, I want to be cucked. I want someone else to live out my dream. I'll just be their rib. See, I feel like a rib is like a 2-second gag, but I truly believe they're going to use half this episode on just ribs. Oh my god, she touched right where I was. You're watching rib porn and you're going to enjoy it. The hero gets killed because he gets considered possessed. Oh no. So by giving the wrong rib, he basically made a fucking demon? Oh no. So this goddess is actually going to eventually really like him because he makes for the most entertaining stories. The goddess literally is a representation of anime fans who have grown bored of isekai and are now finally liking it again after a lot of the same stuff has been made. Yes! To everyone who has said isekai has peaked, isekai is the same thing. Fuck you. We are just scratching the surface. Reincarnated as a hero's rib is here, and that's only one of probably a bajillion stories we're gonna get. Holy fuck. Those were some of my highlights. You want to catch the full live reaction, head on over to Patreon. My Ribdiculous Reincarnation was probably my most anticipated show of the season. But I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting to think it was a top 3 show of the season already, but it is. This show is basically what happens if the gods, Egyptian gods, Catholic gods, Isekai gods, all got together and said, hey, we're going to choose which person, which group of people we get to Isekai reincarnate, and we're going to watch their new lives as a TV show. But what happens when one of the gods, that being a traditional Isekai goddess, is bored? Says, listen, I don't want to deal with your shenanigans, and then unexpectedly gets thrown into our MC who said, listen, I don't want to wait 50,000 years on the waiting list to become a hero harem MC or a demon lord MC. So instead, I'll come up with an idea that is so ridiculous no one will ever want to try to reincarnate into. And what does he do for his first rodeo? I want to be the rib of a hero with a harem. Because sometimes I'll get touched too. And it is dead ass fucking a masterpiece. The thing about our MC is he's immediately likable. He's a fucking idiot. The dude literally got nearly killed a bajillion times and still thought he had a chance with a girl. And Truck-kun was not enough to kill him, so Meteor-kun had to finish it off. This goddess and him are going to be a riot. But I think it's so funny because it almost feels like the goddess in a way is kind of like social commentary on anime fans who are bored of isekai. It's the same thing over and over again. But then this guy comes in and shows you it still has so much potential. The second episode, at least one of the stories, I'm not sure. I mean, if we go under the assumption the first half of an episode was just set up and then a second half for a story, we might be able to get a couple of reincarnation. Hell, they might be able to do a dozen reincarnation stories in one episode. But Hermit Crab is up next. And the thing is if you watch the trailer for the show, hell, even if you haven't watched the trailer, the opening shows you there's a wide variety of animation styles. Sometimes it's live action. This is the most visually creative fucking show of the season, which is saying a lot because there are some really visually interesting shows. You got Needy Girl Overdose, you got Nippon Sengoku or whatever that one show was called yesterday. There's some great visual flair this season, but this show is going to take the cake for sure. The thing that I really like is that there's going to be a wide variety of styles. In the case of the hero's rib story, they actually cooked a pretty interesting visual flair. It kind of reminded me of a Disney film in a way. It's different, but it's closer to Disney than it is traditional anime, right? So for me, it was really fun seeing that, but I do think we're going to have a wide variety of animation and art direction that looks like they put no effort, that it's going to look like fucking Inferno Cop level trigger bullshit, and then there's going to be other styles that are going to look visually creative and in full depth. If we come into episode 2 and the hermit crab is literally just real footage of a fucking hermit crab in our own world, I am going to call that anime of the year. This show is special. It really is. And I think even if you don't fuck with isekai, right? You gotta fuck with this show. This is not your run-of-the-mill average show. Because how many times do we have a show that can come out and say, okay, so this is how this life ended, and I was unsatisfied with it, so I had to return, right? What did we get? So he basically told the hero, hey, I know you're scared of the voice coming from inside you, so I'm this rib. He was actually on this side. So he rips out a rib, that rib becomes another version of the hero, they have a fight, and then they start ripping out ribs to the point that it's just an endless cycle. Have you ever seen the one episode of The Simpsons, it's a Halloween special, where Homer gets a hammock, and then every time he goes in, 2 more Homers come out? That's basically what happened. If you tell me that does not sound funny to you, you are a boring person. And that might ruffle some feathers. But you know what? We're all entitled to have our opinion. We're all entitled to have our opinions on what is good or not. But if that doesn't sound hilarious to you, you are not my people. You are the type of person that wants your walls painted very bland, with nothing hung up. You want it nice and tidy. You don't want spice in your life, and that is fine. I just want nothing to do with you. And I think the concept of like imagining if gods were real, right? And imagining if they actually had the ability to reincarnate. There's only so much reincarnation we can do. So the idea that basically these stories are their TV, which I do believe, like if there was really gods, I would have to imagine that shit's just entertainment for them and they're just doing random shit and playing. I mean, we play video games and we act as God, right? We play Civilization simulators, we act as God. Like that's how I don't believe in shit, but that's what I would believe if it actually was true. I'm like, yeah, you guys are just having fun. And that's what they're doing. The concept of making you wait in line, like the fact that you have to wait 500 years for a dude with 1 line of dialogue. So why can we go for hermit crabs? Because no one wants the fucking hermit crab. No one's going to think to do that other than our MC. And that's kind of fucking brilliant. Listen, I like Isekai. Isekai is my favorite thing to watch. It is. It's I don't think we've even scratched the surface of what you can do. For a while, you were getting the same generic Isekai every single season. But when you actually peel back the top layer, these shows have a lot to offer. And I think this insane idea only works because we can reincarnate to other worlds over and over again. And it's just going to be so fun to see what they ultimately do by the end. Could it fall off? To be honest, no. I don't think so. You could literally give me an episode of just I reincarnated as paint drying. And it's 20 minutes of just a wall. And that's it. And I think that's the funniest thing ever. It won't be for many people, but for me it will be. This show was made for me, and this is what happens if you allowed me to fund an anime. 100%. Your thoughts down below. I'm sure I've introduced many people into this wild ride, but this was one of my most anticipated. I nearly skipped out on it, and there was one patron of mine who said, hey, you should check this out. I said, what the fuck is that? How did I miss that? Thank you. You know who you are. Thoughts down below. Drop a like, share your support, subscribe, ring that bell, and you know what? Patreon full live reactions will live over there no matter what. And other exclusives, because you know I got to give those videos shoutouts because of why you can get these YouTube videos at all. All right, so today we got Volume, Maria, Neko Yumiko, Fluffy Wolf, JT5342, Action Vids, Nadius, your boy, Imagine Snow, and Beast Swim. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and think of what you want to be reincarnated as if you ever get the option. Have a good one.